Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and here today with me is Andrew O'Donnell, founder of SuperChargedStocks. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks so much. Really excited to be here. This is my first show for this month. I went to the earlier one in the end of January.
Oh, great.
So really excited. I'm new into the space, I guess, in a way, but really not new into the sector at all, or the service. I've been in financial service for about 20 years.
Right, it's our first time talking.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more about your background.
Sure. So I started out, I've worked for some big companies, Standard Life, Merrill Lynch, World Bank, RBC. Everything from like a broker to a managing director of an offshore captive insurance company. Lots of interesting projects, lots of interesting things. Really interested in working with brokers and whatnot. That led me to gold. Essentially. So my background has always been a family that's really rich in depth with financial service. Went to a private school. We were kind of, forced to go that route anyway. We were encouraged to say. So lots of background in it, lots of interest in it, and I really saw that there's a potential, not only because we're in Vancouver, but the timing of the cycle, that right now is a great time to be looking in the sector. Right.
So you're just launching your business right now, SuperChargedStocks, and you see good times coming for the resource space?
Absolutely. I've been writing as a private newsletter for families and people that I've had in the past kind of advised. So I decided to take that more public and a lot of that information just kind of put out there right now for free. We're in a bit of a shift, so Supercharged will be out in about 2 weeks. I've done it under the heading right now as in ahead of the curve, but that will switch. And I really went all in saying that this sector is where my heart is, because I looked at it in a different kind of way as well than a lot of people might. My goal at the top level is just to get people interested. And people might put me in trouble here to say, I want to get people away from wheat stocks and from FANG stocks and say, listen, let's look at something real right now. Let's look at something in the ground that's real, not only in the ground, but also that's creating the future. And whether you're talking about nanotechnology, quantum computers, sunglasses, that's all involves mining. So I want to bring a broad kind of approach, get people interested, and then focus them down into companies that I'm really excited about.
Good. Can you tell me what commodities you're going to be looking at?
I love just the basic, you're looking at gold, silver, copper. I've got a big excitement about that, not only because the one belt, one road initiative, in China, but the demand for resources is huge. And if the U.S., which it needs to do, really focuses on infrastructure, is going to be a massive demand. That on top of some interesting ones too. I just did an article on vanadium, which was posted in a couple of different sources, and that is really exciting. And that's what I love about this sector, is that you can go and branch out into really interesting metals that are being used that not only did I not know about, but other people didn't know about. And they're doing incredible things with a lot of this, and it drives stories pretty quickly.
Okay, so tell me about when you're looking at stocks, how do you choose good ones? What's your criteria?
I actually post my very basic model online, and it is very basic. I'm looking at I'm looking at a lot of geopolitical macro events. Right now, I know there's a flight of capital from a lot of different places for obvious reasons. There is a real desire to move money back into specifically North America and to safe locations and jurisdictions. We're seeing in the news every day, whether it's in South America or Africa, lots of issues. Even if you find something, it's like a double-edged sword almost. So really focusing on a macro level. Second, taking a look at the team. Who's involved? And that's a kind of obvious one across the board. Who's involved and who's also buying shares in it as well. So those two factors right off the bat are the key things, but overall, at the end of the day, is what are the rocks talking about? So what's the story? What's the real story here? Is there any hard data? Is it just an exploration company with possibilities? Is it a whole regional play? That's going to be the real core of it, is that do you have any real data here? And if you do, and you have the other parts of the story, then we can make a great story about this. Otherwise, not really that interested. So those three things are the main criteria, on top of all sorts of interesting things I like to do on my own as well.
Okay, so that's the basics of you and your philosophy for investing. Do you have any final words of advice for investors in 2018?
My biggest concern, or the thing I want to bring to people's attention, is stop being passive. We've got so much money that are involved in passive markets, which are great for the most part. For a lot of investors, you should have that. But I think we've gone past the point where you want to give away all responsibility for your own financial well-being. And there are lots of opportunities out there in the resource sector where a little bit of money in this sector moves the market quite a long way. And we are Canada, we're a resource country. So my goal is to really encourage people to take back a little responsibility, a little ownership of your own portfolio. Take a look at some new exciting opportunities out there with part of your portfolio, and let's look to see what we can do in the future.
Okay, well that's great. Thanks so much for joining me today and explaining. Once again, I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network. This is Andrew O'Donnell with SuperCharged Stocks.